Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome back to Wall Street Silver. Our guest today is our good friend, Mark Yaxley. He is the managing director at Strategic Wealth Preservation. Welcome back, Mark.
Hey guys, good to see you again.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. So we see you're in the vault. It looks absolutely beautiful. I'm super jealous.
Yeah, could touch one of those gold bars so we know that's not a virtual background behind you.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, he's actually picking it up.
That's a holy. Is
That's
that
crazy.
how heavy is that?
So it's a 400-ounce gold bar. It weighs about 27 and a half pounds. It feels like more because it's very dense,
Yeah.
But I can hear you'll probably be able to hear the sound. It's
Man,
really, yeah.
that is
Wow.
incredible.
So just give us a rough guesstimate of how much all that gold behind you adds up to, because that's stunning to see for real.
Yeah, I mean the gold price is up lately, which is great to see. Silver's up as well, great to see. I'd say that stack is about $200 million somewhere.
$200 of
That's a nice virtual background.
Holy cow! Holy cow! The vault walls must be so thick. I'm stunned that the signal's getting through for your Wi-Fi. Must be.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised too, actually. We had to upgrade the Wi-Fi at one point, so I'm glad it's working out for you guys.
Yeah. So yeah. Wow.
Now,
Take it away. I'm speechless right now.
now, Mark, what are the lowest premiums? A lot of people on Reddit and a lot of people on Wall Street Silver are wondering what are the lowest premiums you're seeing on certain types of silver?
Yeah, it's a good question. That's probably why you'll notice, guys, I have a lot of bars on the table. A lot of people go out there and buy their silver eagles and silver maple leafs. And the reason I had these out was to kind of reinforce a point. This market, okay, first of all, I was doing my homework before I knew you'd ask the question. The wholesale premium on silver eagles right now is about $14. That's 60% over spot. So if you're a retail investor, you're paying anywhere between 65 to 70% for your silver eagles premium. That's insane. It's the highest I've ever seen in my career. So my advice to you is if you're a silver buyer, you're going to want to angle get yourself some 100-ounce silver bars. I'm holding a Royal Canadian Mint bar, but actually a couple of refiners you might want to check out. One of them is Asahi. They actually have lower premiums on their 100-ounce bars right now. They seem to be one of the best priced bars out there. So if you can find yourself some Asahi bars, we do sell those. I recommend that. Otherwise, if you can go as big as 1,000-ounce silver bars, I mean, this is about $23,000 a bar. But
is that a COMEX bar?
Yeah, so this is a Royal Canadian Mint bar, so this would be acceptable on the COMEX. We're not a COMEX approved facility. Cayman Islands not a major hub necessarily for trading like London and New York, but yeah, if you can afford one of these bars, you're going to drive if your premium is 60 or 70% on a 1-ounce silver eagle, your premium on this is going to be somewhere around 5 to 6%. So you've knocked that down.
Maybe a dollar or $1.50 above spot price.
Exactly.
If you're just looking for bulk raw silver and you can afford to step up to the $23,000, per purchase type of price range. And then if someone's uncomfortable holding that much silver in their house, well, one option is you just paint it black and use it as a doorstop. The other option is you could put it in a vault like what you have in the Caymans. Out of the United States, offshore storage. That's what you guys provide, right? Is outside of European or outside of U.S. jurisdiction. If someone's worried about their gold, the government doing a seizure of gold or silver, you could, Mark has a stellar reputation for offsite storage. Can people just buy directly through you? You will acquire it and store it for them, or do they have to buy it somewhere else first and then ship it to you?
So it's actually all of the above. So we own and operate this vault in the Cayman Islands. Yes, you can buy from us, and we will fulfill it from inventory that we have in the vault or from a U.S. wholesaler or a refinery. You can also ship us metal that you already have at home. We have a logistics department that does that all day. We move metal all over the world. But we also do domestic U.S. storage, Texas, LA, Miami, and Delaware. And then we also offer Singapore, like everybody else. We do the Singapore, Zurich, New Zealand. Those are not facilities that we own. We own and operate this one. This is home base for us. But yeah, it's all doable. It's all possible.
Is it expensive to store silver?
No. I mean, well, silver is more expensive than gold. Just to give you an idea, and this will bring the point home. You got this 400-ounce gold bar here. This thing is worth about 725,000 US dollars. This silver bar is 2.5 times larger, and it's worth about $22,000. So the cost to store silver is higher. It's about the average worldwide. If you took all the vaults and summed it up, it'd be about 1% of the average value per year of your silver. And if you're storing gold, it's usually about 50 basis points, so 0.5% to about 0.75%. So it's not a bad deal for silver, but you are going to pay more.
In these days, the big story in the news is things like crypto exchanges are failing right and left. It's not just FTX, but I've seen other names like Genesis and Liquid. I don't even know all their names, but it seems like 4 or 5 have failed in just the past couple of days. Now, I don't want to say failed, but they're halting withdrawals. And the problem is a lot of these exchanges, it's not like a stock exchange or a stock brokerage where you have, or a bank where you have FDIC or SIPC investor insurance protection. These things are highly unregulated. They're all, fly-by-night type of operations. I just saw that, Sam, I know you're not in the Bahamas, you're in the Caymans, but Sam, he's now putting his, by the way, Mark, if you're looking for a place in the Bahamas, this one's for sale on the market. Sam just put his $39.5 million place on the market for sale. And you know what I found so hilarious about this? Is he did this hilarious video with Nas Daily where he was talking about giving away all of his money and he's giving away all of his customers' money, but he's looking like he's charity. But he's bragging about his Toyota Corolla and how humble he is, and he only drives a Toyota Corolla.
Hold on, where's your car?
It's that one there.
That's like what, a Toyota?
Yeah, it's a Corolla.
Why don't you buy a Lamborghini, man?
It didn't have any particular need for one.
But yeah, what he didn't put in the video is, meanwhile he's living in this place that he bought with probably customer money. But it's just funny what's going on in the whole crypto world. What do you think? Are you hearing that from customers? Or I guess your customers probably are not into the crypto world, but are you seeing any sort of, trend from those people as maybe I should shift a little bit more into silver and gold right now? These crypto things, I'm just going to stay on the sidelines until that all gets sorted out.
Look, gold and silver were before FTX. That's still happening. It's unwinding. But before that happened, gold and silver are already starting to trend up because the US dollar is finally starting to come down. So that's like every morning, the first thing I look at is the strength of the US dollar. DXY, look at it. It's so important because it has a negative correlation with gold and silver. And that's why gold and silver started trending up, because the dollar is trending back towards its long-term median. Super important to keep that in mind. But now you're throwing fuel on the fire with gold and silver, because crypto, it's hitting a wall. In my opinion, the general public opinion, you're going to have those who are super crypto focused. They will always believe in crypto. It's the godsend. It's the sliced bread for them. It's like, and I'm not discounting them because I've owned crypto. I've invested in crypto. I think you should have some, less than gold and silver personally. Mm-hmm. But the point being that the general public, those new investors, they're now scrambling. Where do I put my money? The equities market is shaky. The economy is shaky. Look at all the stuff that's happening in the world. Those people are not going to go to crypto now. Now they're going to be looking for safe and for real physical assets. And I'll drive that home, Jim. So I was showing this to Ian beforehand. What this is and what you see over here, forget the gold bars for 1 second. What you see over here, each client that we have, they get their own segregated, fully allocated, fully segregated bin. Your bars and coins that you buy go in this little bucket that belongs to you. Now, if you have more, you get a bigger bucket. But the point being, it's uniquely identified. It has seals that are unique, so we can track all of that. And this is your stuff. There is no digital version. There is no paper version of your asset. It's physical assets that are fully segregated, fully allocated. And the world, I think, as a follower of FTX, is going to be looking for more of that.
That guy has a pretty nice stack.
Yeah, it's a good stack.
So let's use that as an example, that one little bin. The only type of gold that I own is American gold eagles, and I have Canadian maple leaf gold coins. I have the little coins, and I have a gold Krugerrand. I have a gold. I have one of each of the major mints, the 1 ounce coins. How many will fit in something like that? If I had wanted to have my own little bucket. What's the capacity of one of those if someone has the 1 ounce coins?
So yeah, so we have multiple sizes. Like actually, you'll laugh because what these are super high end Tupperware containers. They're like the highest end that Rubbermaid makes. Okay, the reason we use these is they come in all shapes and sizes. They stack really well and they hold a lot of weight before they crack. So we used to have these bigger bins, but you end up with a lot of empty space for most of them. So we said let's downsize. So if you had 20 maple leaves, for example, that takes all of like this much space. You get this tiny little bin. But if you have like this guy's got, half a dozen kilo bars, he's got the slightly bigger bin. So the capacity and the space is not an issue. But whatever your size is as an investor, we basically.
So someone could easily store, $500,000 to $1 million in one of these little bins in gold, not silver, obviously. Yeah. Silver is probably too bulky, but you could get $1 million of value into one of those little plastic containers fairly easily, correct?
Yeah. And again, the billing for storage, just keep in mind if people are thinking about that, it's not based on how much room it takes. It's based on the value. So if you're like you had a smaller bin or you had a larger bin, there's no difference in the price. It's how much you have inside and what the value is. That's what it's billed based on. And to answer your question, silver, there's a lot of silver. There's more silver ounces in this vault than gold. It's distracting because you see a lot of gold right now.
Well, I mean, look at mine. This is like, in my bedroom.
Yeah, there's probably like for every gold ounce, there's probably like 5 or 10 ounces of silver in here. But it's lower on the floor because it's so heavy. We store it lower for the guys that don't have to lift it. That's
gotcha. So, Mark, we're watching the COMEX inventory levels and the LBMA inventory levels very closely. They're trending downwards. Where's this disappearing to? I mean, are people just taking it off the exchanges into private storage? What's the story going on?
Yeah, I'd say it's going to 2 different places. My understanding would be yes, private storage. Okay, a couple of trends. I was at the LBMA conference in Lisbon. They did not mention this once. That was interesting to me. I thought this would be addressed because on our side of the world, when we talk, we're like, hey, what's going on? What's the trend? You think this would come up at the annual conference? Didn't come up, interestingly enough. Where do I think is it going? I think some of it is going into private hands. And the reason that I know that is because there's a lot of new storage facilities being built, private storage facilities, not COMEX approved facilities. So there's a lot of metal that needs a home and a place to go. The other place that's going is central banks. I mean, we're seeing it's well documented record new intake for central banks. A lot of those central banks, though, places you wouldn't necessarily think. Turkey, number 1, taking in gold right now. Is Pakistan. Number 2, Qatar, number 4, number 3 was India on the report I saw. So some of it central banks, some of it private hands. But yeah, you see the numbers right there. I mean, it's moving.
So Mark, do you believe silver premiums are going down in the near future? What's your opinion?
Bad news for silver. Well, here's the good news. Good news for silver investors. Price is going up right now. As we record this, it's been a really good little run, $4 to $5 of appreciation. Everybody needed that. All of us needed a little bit of that. Bad news is premiums are already as high as I've ever seen them in my career. And if you look, I look at the trends. I look at demand. I look at the mint's capacity to produce. Not only demand in North America, really strong demand in the Eastern markets as well. I cannot come up with a reason to think premiums are going to soften. In fact, now that the price is moving up, we're seeing this FTX news. The markets are in a little bit of a panic. I just think this trend is going to continue. Unfortunately, silver and gold are going to get more expensive, not only in terms of spot price, but also in terms of premiums.
Well, yeah, there's the silver chart. You can see we've, definitely broken out of this downtrend. It may, maybe it's, we'll see what happens. And here's the gold chart. It looks even stronger. It's definitely broken out of its downtrend. All we can do is wait, and then I want to put up the DXY chart also. Here's the dollar index. It's definitely lost its uptrend, which I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I've made too many calls over the past year and a half and been wrong, and too bullish on silver and gold for the past year and a half. I think we all were, but hey, I can admit it, right? It was all Ivan's fault. He's the one who told me to buy this stuff. But anyways, what can we do? Maybe our moment's now. I'm heavily invested in silver and gold and the mining stocks around those things. That's where I'm playing it for the apocalypse. And you're definitely the apocalypse storage investor place, offshore silver and gold vaulting. Outside of, when people tell me they worry, oh, the government's just going to confiscate it all. Well, that's where a guy like you comes in, right?
I mean, Cayman, that to answer your initial question, that's why we exist. I mean, if it wasn't for fear of government and overreach and privacy, a lot of our clients is really about privacy. It's not that they fear that the government is going to come in and kick down their door in Tennessee or in Florida or Texas or New York and take their gold and silver. They're looking for privacy. If they could have one thing in their life that wasn't a digital or a record somewhere, right. Obviously we do record keeping and we send statements to our clients, but it's in a jurisdiction that is renowned for the protection of privacy. The Cayman Islands has made its existence, and really it's the lifeblood of this country. Once you get to know anything about Cayman, is you understand the guys that figured that out for the Cayman Islands and put them on the map. Now, 5 generations later, the people that live here, the Caymanian people and the government know that that's their lifeline. Like, right. This is what we do well. So we're going to continue doing that because it allows our children to go to first world schools. It allows them to get good education, get good jobs. It pays pensions. I mean, it does all the things that a first world country wants. And this country doesn't have a deficit. That's probably the biggest takeaway. Imagine a country that doesn't have a deficit in this day and age. That's Cayman Islands, or a very, very small deficit, very manageable. Yeah, there's a handful of countries in the world that, Switzerland was the model for many, many, many years. Now, back in about the late, 2008, they had an issue where they started cooperating with U.S. authorities and basically providing banking information about U.S. citizens. That trickled into the gold business. So it did affect Zurich as the hub for gold trading. Singapore emerged. And Singapore is also an excellent jurisdiction. We see a lot of our clients storing gold in Singapore as well. Cayman is also one of those places. So there's not just Cayman. There are others that exist. But yeah, they're all based on the same model of privacy, wealth protection, offshore banking. That's the whole thing.
Now, I know some of those jurisdictions have had problems with Americans opening up bank accounts because of, they just, to avoid IRS issues, banks won't open accounts for Americans in some of these jurisdictions. But is that a problem for you to accept American customers for vaulting services?
Thankfully, we're not a bank, Jim. We're classified as an active non-financial institution, which we are regulated by the Department of Commerce and Investment in the Cayman Islands. So we're a regulated business, but we're not a bank. So most of our clients are American. About 80% of our clients are Americans. But if you were an American trying to open a bank account in Cayman, absolutely, to your point, if you don't have about $2 million to deposit in that bank, don't even bother picking up the phone and calling them. They're not interested. And that's changed a lot over the last couple of years. I mean, that didn't used to be the case, but Americans are having a harder and harder time in the banking system worldwide. And that's to do with compliance. It's expensive. They have to meet all these regulations with the US. And
what about insurance? How are you insured for if there was ever a problem? Let's say hurricane, flood, everything's washed out to sea. How are you, what's the insurance situation?
So that was my first question when I took this job 8 years ago. I was like, what about hurricanes? And so our insurance policy, yes, it does insure against hurricanes, but you have to keep in mind, water doesn't affect gold and silver very much. When they find a treasure at the bottom of the ocean,
corrosion.
500 years after the Spanish galleon sank, it's still shiny, it's still gold. So worst case, we're inside of a bunker. You guys can't see the whole thing, but this is a bunker. It's actually watertight when the door is closed. But even if water got in, that's not a major issue for us. We have insurance and the gold's not going anywhere. I mean, This stuff is heavy. It just sits,
How far above sea level are you? The bunker?
Don't tell that.
It's not as high as back home where I live. We're about, I think 10 or 15 feet above sea level right here.
All right. So you'll survive global warming for a few more centuries. Yeah. All right. Well, cool. Thanks for the update, Mark. It's good to touch base with you. And thank you very much for recording this from inside the vault. It really,
what a treat.
It's stunning to see. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no, always a pleasure, guys. Love what you guys are doing. So keep it up. Always a pleasure to be with you.